What's up, guys?
On this week's show,
We finally get a look at Venom.
we're going to show some love with some shout-outs.
And did Infinity War live up to the hype
All that and more on this episode
of One Giant Leap for Geeks?
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for
Geeks. Welcome to another episode of OGLFG, where we talk about movies, video games, and all things in geek culture. I'm your host, Mike C. Squared, and with me is my co-host, DJ Melly Mel.
Hey! Breathe, it'll be okay.
I was not ready. You don't even understand. But
Disclaimer.
From the outset, we're going to talk about Avengers Infinity War, and it is going to be spoiler heavy. Spoiler. So you bet not say that. I did not say that shit. Spoilers.
And if you get all but heard about spoilers, just don't listen to this episode until you've seen Infinity War.
Yes, go see it, come back, then listen to the rest of this. But we will do the review at the end, so you guys don't have to completely miss the episode, and we will make it very clear when we're going to start talking about Infinity War. You will know when we get there. First thing out of the gate, I wanted to talk about the reveal of Venom. I guess that's who that's supposed to be.
Venom in air quotes.
Right, in big ass air quotes. So about a week ago, the second trailer, the full trailer, not a teaser trailer, for the Sony's Venom movie came out. And yeah. Okay. So for out the gate, I want to say this. There's another movie that is coming out from Blumhouse Pictures called Upgrade.
Yes.
And it's about a guy who gets in some kind of accident. His wife gets killed or something like that. And he gets hurt, and he becomes a quadriplegic.
Right.
And some guy comes to him in the hospital and basically says, like, hey, there's this like experimental chip that we're working on, and we can implant it in you, and you can give you back your life and your mobility and yada yada. Mm-hmm. And so he agrees to it, and the chip brings back all his motor functions and stuff like that. But it also
it can talk to him.
Yeah, it can talk to him, and it can take over him and remotely control his body and do things for him. And basically the premise of the movie is he's trying to get revenge on the people who killed his wife, and the chip is helping him go. It's basically Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man 2, where the little control chip gets burnt out, and then the arms are controlling him and shit. It's pretty much that. But this movie is almost identical to this Venom trailer. Like, it has, the actor's name is gonna escape me, but the fake Tom Hardy. Yeah, go ahead, look him up while I'm explaining. It's the fake Tom Hardy. He's and I feel bad for calling him this because I do like the guy. He is a pretty good actor. I've seen him in a few things. I think it was The Invitation. He's in that, where they get invited over to a dinner party and all hell breaks loose. He's in Prometheus. I know he's in that. That's the first thing I ever saw him in. But it basically, all the way down to, he looks very similar to Tom Hardy. The way the movie is shot and the scenery, like the fight scene in the kitchen, looks a lot like the apartment that Tom Hardy's in when he's fighting him in a Venom trailer. And the fact that he doesn't know how to control this new power that he has, and it's kind of fighting for him. So instead of the black tendrils coming out of him, he's just like, rising up on his own and breaking motherfuckers' necks and stabbing him and all this crazy shit. And he's just like, I don't know what I'm doing. He's like, stop, get up, man. Don't, keep fighting back. Like, just stay down. My robot body is going to kill you.
His name's Logan Marshall Green, by the way.
Logan Marshall Green.
And he was also in Spider-Man Homecoming.
That's right. Yes, he is. He's one of the goons in that. Yeah, because he was the one who gets killed because he has the shocker gloves at first, and then Michael Keaton kills him with the gun, and then the other guy takes over, and he's the shocker now.
Yep.
But the movie looks really dated to me. I mean, it feels like something that would have came out in the early 2000s.
I would
back when we
say
were still...
it kind of had a Matrixy feel to it when I
You said that, yeah.
watched the trailer, and I'm just like...
You was like the Matrix and like John
meets
Wick?
John Wick, and you put them together, and you basically have this movie with a Tom Hardy lookalike.
Right, and he's sprinkled a little bit of The Exorcist on there because they make it seem like he's like possessed.
Yeah.
Which, I mean... I don't really know any other way you could make that concept work because that's basically what it is. I mean, the symbiote talks to him and it's symbiote. Symbiote. Say it with me, kids. Symbiote. Not symbiote, like they say in the trailer.
That's been bugging you since you've seen
man.
it.
And I'm not the only one. I've seen a bunch of people online talking about this too. Like, is that how you pronounce that? Because that does not sound right. I mean,
that's not what they said in the cartoons.
Right, exactly. And even reading it, it doesn't read like symbiote. It's like symbiote. But whatever. Like symbiosis. Like, that's an actual word. Symbiote is not, but it would still be pronounced the same, I would assume, but whatever. But apparently it's symbiote.
I don't know. It's in the English language. Lord knows what we can do. We can throw all kind of rules in there.
Yeah, but as my biggest fears were confirmed, still no Spider-Man, nowhere in the trailer. Even if he really isn't going to be in the movie, how do they incorporate him into this? That was DJ Melly Mel's neck cracking, if you heard that. Because I heard it, and I was like, oh, man, that sounded painful.
I just wish the other side would crack, too. Because that's the side that hurts.
Yeah.
Ooh,
there it goes. Jeez, yeah. Sorry for people who have those, like, audio sensory, like, quirks and stuff. Yeah, you're going to enjoy that.
Well, they're making Venom out to be another freaking anti-villain. Or anti-hero.
Yeah.
And... Venom is not an anti-hero.
No.
Venom is a villain.
Yes. Now, in the comics, Venom has become an anti-hero, but that's when the symbiote was on Flash Thompson.
Right.
And he was Venom, and he becomes anti-Venom, and he works for, like, the government and stuff like that, and he uses the symbiote to go on, like, missions and shit.
But that's not on
But that's not Eddie Brock though. No,
and...
Eddie Brock is this big jock dude who never really seemed like he would be a reporter. That never really made sense. This is like this big swole ass motherfucker talking about like, so tell me more about the economy. Like that never made sense to me, but whatever. But in this, they've made him such a bitch. he does.
I know you don't like going back to this, but
okay, if we going back to Cloverfield,
no,
oh.
not
sure.
We ain't going there.
Okay,
Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
The one thing that made sense was the fact that Eddie Brock was this tiny little petite guy.
Yeah,
Topher Grace. Mm-hmm. And then when he becomes Venom, he gets
he's this big,
gets kind of big and swole. Yeah. If that was what they were going for. Sure,
but it's funny because that's why I thought they picked Tom Hardy, because Eddie Brock in the comics and in the cartoon is a big swole dude, and fucking Tom Hardy is
a big swole
pretty
dude.
Chunky motherfucker. I mean, not chunky, but
he's swole.
Yeah, thick, as the kids would say. He's thick than a motherfucker, thick than a bitch. But he's big. And it's funny because he's so big, like the symbiote almost can't come over him because he's so big.
Yeah.
It's like once the symbiote is on him, he just seems like obnoxiously large because he's already this big, like bodybuilder type dude in the first place. And the symbiote comes over him, and it's just like now he's like twice as big. But his mannerisms is what the problem is.
Yeah.
He looks the part.
He's not.
But the way he's coming off is so bitchy. He's like, oh, we don't want to hurt nobody. You can only hurt bad people, Venom. And Venom's like, who is this bitch that I'm on? It's like, stop acting like such a pussy. But it's true. It's true, because he's like, the way I see it, we can do whatever we want to do, Eddie. And he's like, oh, I don't know about this, Venom.
I love your Venom voice, by the way. That's awesome.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
We're working on that all night.
I bet you have.
But yeah, I mean, my main gripe, and we talked about this off mic right before we started recording, I don't understand how the symbiote works. Because now, traditionally in the comics, the symbiote can be whatever you need it to be.
Right.
So if you need to, sneak into a black tie ball it'll turn into a suit.
Right.
You know, if you need to go play basketball, it'll turn into a jersey. It can be whatever you want it to be, and the symbiote is always with you. That was one of the cool things about it. I'm assuming that's what they're going to do with this, but just the way it looks, it's like the tendrils are just coming out of his clothes. It doesn't rip his clothes. It's not coming out of his body. It was like the scene where he goes up the ramp, which, sidebar, how big are the hills in San Francisco?
I hear that they're pretty big.
Because he jumped like 1,000,000 feet in the air on that motorcycle, and I'm like, if that hill is like that in real life, no one would ever drive down that street. Like, that was insane. I think that's one of
them streets where you got to go like 10 miles an hour.
I guess so, yeah, because this motherfucker I've heard that
San Francisco's got some pretty crazy
hills,
hills. And
they get a lot of earthquakes and shit, so I guess, yeah, probably.
Hey, shout out to any of our California people if you can answer that for us.
Right, yeah, let us know. Can you jump 600 feet in the air on a motorcycle on a San Francisco street? Because, geez, they need to start doing some X Games out there.
Right.
But yeah, you know, that scene, and then where he's in the apartment and the guy's coming through the door behind him and the tendrils come out his back and he hits the guy. His hoodie's still completely intact. Nothing's torn. And like I said, if it is mimicking his clothes, that's good. That's comic accurate. I'll go with that. But just going off of what they're doing in the trailer, I don't feel like they're being very accurate to really anything. So,
you know, it looks better than what it did when we first got the teaser trailer. I'll give it that.
Yeah, you actually saw Venom this time. Yeah. Sure.
However, I still have issues with this movie. Mm-hmm. Like, it's gonna come out, and we're gonna go see it because that's what we do.
Sure.
And I have issues with it.
Mm-hmm. There are things about it, because you were talking about how your brother said that it looks really cool, and there are things about it that do look cool.
I mean, graphically, it looks like it could be really cool. You know,
now the special effects aren't very polished, but that's okay. But I do like the design,
right? I like
Venom,
where it's
what
headed.
They're going for.
Yeah,
I mean, it's going to look better once the movie comes out,
course.
hopefully. But just what they're trying to do, like I love his the way his mouth moves.
Yeah.
The teeth, you know.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
The tongue coming out and everything.
When he finally turns into the Venom.
Venom, yes. And I like that they actually incorporated his jaw elongating like it does in the comics when he opens his mouth. So that was cool. The only thing about it that I didn't like was how the symbiote came over him. Because I loathe Spider-Man 3. That is my least favorite Spider-Man movies of all even the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I cannot stand Spider-Man 3. But the way that the symbiote comes over Eddie's face in that was more comic accurate, because it was like it never fully came off of him, because it was like always attached. So even when it pulled back to see his face, like his eyebrows would still be kind of pulled back, and his lip and stuff, because it was always still on him.
Sure, it was like a sticky tar substance.
Right, and that's fine. And then when it
would
come back... Which is
what it should be.
Right, it would slowly come back and form it. In this trailer, and it may be different when the movie comes out, but it's almost like it's one whole mouth that just came over his head.
Do you remember in Beetlejuice, in the 1980s movie Beetlejuice? Sure. Mm-hmm.
Is there another one? I'm just fucking with you. Go ahead. I'm like,
do that.
You were going into this detail. I'm like, is there another Beetlejuice?
Well, you know, we have listeners that are going to be like, Beetlejuice? What the hell is Beetlejuice?
All right. Just keep saying it. Beetlejuice.
Anyway, the point is when we had those big giant sandworms.
Yeah.
And the head kind of just...
It did look like that.
It kind of looked like that.
That is a good reference. No, that is good. Yeah.
That's kind of... I don't know.
Okay.
That was my first thought when you saw the big giant sandworm head and the eyes in the middle.
And since you said that, now I can't unsee this in my mind. It looks like someone's pulling foreskin over the head of their penis. That's what it looked like. That's what it looked like. Because once you said the sandworms, I've always thought those things look like dicks with teeth anyway.
They do.
So when you said that, I was like, oh my God, Venom is fucking foreskin over the head of a penis. Because that's how it was. It was like it was peeled back and it just pulled back over his face. And I was like, shouldn't it just be the tendrils and then the face forms from that? It should just be like a big ass mouth closing around his head. I was like, okay, because even the teeth were coming with it, and I was like, wait a minute, that's weird. But yeah, y'all need to work on that, because. But I mean, all in all, I don't think anybody, I don't even think, and I just feel so bad because Tom Hardy is such a good actor. Mm-hmm. And I feel like with the right direction and in the right hands, Marvel, I think that he would have been a great Eddie Brock. He would have been a great villain. Could you imagine him and Tom Holland, Spider-Man, having to fight each other?
My God.
That would be epic as shit. But now he's an anti-hero. I was like, why y'all trying to make him into the Punisher and shit? Like, what? It's like he kills people, but he's still a good guy. And I'm like,
he only kills the bad guys.
We only gonna kill bad people, Venom. Isn't that right? Yeah, Eddie. Whatever you say. Yeah, so, but, yeah, there's that. Anyway, moving on. I don't want to spend any more time on that.
Keep going.
Because we got to get to the good shit.
We got the bigger fish to fry.
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do. Lord, we do. So, I wanted to take a moment to do some shout outs to some other great shows that you guys should check out. We've been doing this for about not quite 6 months, but getting there. Well, technically not together, but it started back in December.
Yeah. The idea was pitched.
Sure. And since then, we've been slowly but surely growing. We're getting more listeners, and we've been trying to engage more in the podcasting community at large, not just with our listeners, but with other podcasters. I was fortunate enough to be a guest on another podcaster's show, and he was gracious enough to agree to be, or foolish enough to be on our show. And, that's going to be coming up in the works here soon. But I wanted to take a minute to just, show some love and give some shout outs to some people that you guys should be listening to. Honestly, it doesn't matter like whether you're new to listening to podcasts or you're just looking to grow, your listening library, so to speak, of podcasts that you already listen to. I think these shows would be a great addition to that. First off, like I said, I got to give a big shout out to, I believe his actual name is, I don't know if he actually wants me to say this.
Don't go there.
Well, to be fair, I saw it on his Twitter or something, so I didn't probe him for his information. It was online somewhere. I'm sure he doesn't care. Well, okay. On Twitter, his name is Famous Seamus, and he has 3 different podcasts that he does. The first one is called Tuesdays with Mary. He is a proponent of cannabis. Okay. and the Tuesdays with Mary podcast, he does that with Luke. And actually, I think he does the other one with Luke as well. And sometimes some other guests that come on. But basically, they get high as shit and just, talk about things that interest them. And it's actually really funny sometimes because my favorite part is, and sorry, Seamus, but it's hilarious, is just listening to them as the show goes on and the higher they get and just the way the conversation evolves as they get high. It's hilarious. The other podcast that he does is called The Aggravated Hour, where basically he just talks for an hour about things that piss him off in the world or topics or just different experiences that he's had. It's pretty self-explanatory, The Aggravated Hour. And the show that we were featured on and I was lucky enough to be on is Chewed Gum, where they talk about the entertainment industry and pop culture and different things like that. And
that's the one I actually follow.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't really get into the other two, but... Sure.
And I mean, and that's what's so great about Seamus is that he has all these different podcasts. So if, Tuesdays with Mary isn't your thing, then you always get Aggravated Hour. And if you don't like that, you always got Chewed Gum to go to.
Yep.
So, he has podcasts coming out the ass. So shout out to Famous Seamus on Twitter. You can find... I'm pretty sure all 3 of his podcasts on just about every platform that you listen to podcasts on, and he's on Twitter, I believe, Instagram as well. Just look for any of the names of the podcast, or just look for Famous Seamus. Anyway, I also wanted to give a shout out to the other, podcasters that have been really great to us. They've been nice enough to, share and retweet our episodes and, listen to our show, give good constructive criticism and feedback and things like that. And I just wanted to show some love to these guys. I want to give a shout out to Christian and Damon's Amazing Nerd Show, the So Wizard podcast, Flicks X-Ray, Ghosts of the Stratosphere, Nerd Chronic, the IMDb Journey podcast, the Stranger Lands, Tag Me In Bro, the Book Reading Podcast, Familiar Strangers podcast, Snack Masters Inc., The Subject Tonight, and Pino Comics. There are so many more out there. There's no way that I could give them all their due right now. And I am sorry for that, but I want you guys to know that you are great and we really appreciate all the shout outs and love that you've been giving us lately. And it has not gone unnoticed. I wanted to make it a point.
Not at all.
Yeah, to say that.
And it's noticed from both sides here because he sees the main account. And of course, I have my personal account, and anything that he follows or the show follows, I follow.
Yeah, and
kind of building it up there.
Yeah, shout out to DJ Melly Mel. Go follow DJ Melly Mel on Twitter. Now, what is your actual @ on Twitter?
I think it's @FroggyBeaver.
Yeah. Is it any numbers? Just @FroggyBeaver?
Just @FroggyBeaver.
Yeah, so just go follow @FroggyBeaver. That is DJ Melly Mel's account. And then
you can clearly tell that it's me. It's says DJ Melly Mel is the name. The picture's Batman.
You're right. You'll know. and obviously our main one Giant Leap for Geeks. And we're on pretty much all the social media platforms. But you know all that because you've listened to the tagline at the end. So there you go. But yeah, no, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate it. And we can't wait to actually have some guests on our show. We were going to have Seamus on, if not next week, coming up in the following weeks here soon. And, we want to try and branch out and get as many people on the show as we can. Like, we love talking to people. And, it's fun just us talking to each other. But it's always nice to have a,
You've come a long way from just being by yourself.
Yeah.
Hanging out in your little
closet.
1970s dated closet.
Oh
there.
Yeah. There's a section of my house that was basically just used for storage before we moved in there, and that room is literally a time capsule. It has
green shag 1970s
wallpaper, flowered wallpaper. There's green shag carpet.
And the wallpaper's yellow, and the carpet's green.
Yeah, it's those like somebody ate a bunch of crayons and just threw up in the room. Yeah, it's bad. But anyway, again. Like I said, thank you guys. Really appreciate it, and we can't wait to get some more interactions with you guys. Now.
Okay, get to your baby, because you've been jonesing since we left the movie theater.
On to the main event. And I even said from the outset, I don't give a fuck about no copyright or nothing. This moment is special. 10 years in the making. From 2008's Iron Man, when nobody even knew who that character was.
Nobody give a damn.
To the first Avengers movie, we have finally made it to this moment. To Avengers Infinity War. And it is glorious. Now,
glorious.
Like I said, this is a spoiler-filled review. Spoilers. The whole way through. So don't get mad at me. Don't say we didn't say anything to you. I initially was going to try and do a 1/2 regular review, 1/2 spoiler-filled review.
Not possible.
But you cannot do this movie justice. You cannot talk about this without spoiling it. So we're going balls deep in this shit from the get-go. So get ready, bitches. If you have not seen the movie, pause, save this for later, download it, throw it in your library somewhere. Go see Infinity War. Go see Infinity War regardless. Even if you don't listen to this, go. It is good. And then come back and listen to this review. Now, like I said, we're not going to do a spoiler-free one, but I am just going to give kind of like a general overview synopsis of what the movie is without spoiling it. Basically, if you haven't been following these movies for the last 10 years, that's your 18 movies in, that's your own damn fault. You better go get
caught up.
Yeah, it's like, look, if you wanted to know what was going on by this point, you would have been following it. So this is your own damn fault. You can't say that they didn't try.
Say one of them's still playing.
Right, Black Panther is still in theaters, motherfuckers. So
with 3
you have no
showings.
excuse. Yeah, at that particular theater, yeah, they're still playing it hard. But Thanos is trying to collect the Infinity Stones, and the Infinity Stones are these remnants from the beginning of the universe that all represent a aspect of reality. There's the Power Stone, the Space Stone, the Time Stone, the Soul Stone, the Reality Stone.
You already said that one.
Did I say reality?
Yeah, that was the first one.
Okay, Power, Reality, Time, Soul, Mind.
That was the...
And
you didn't say the Mind Stone.
Okay, and Space? Is that the 6th one? Whatever. I'm pretty sure I just went over all 6. I think so, yeah. Go Google the shit. I can't be a dictionary for y'all. Right, or a thesaurus for all this stuff. But, and each of these stones controls that aspect of reality. And if you can get all 6 Infinity Stones together, you are literally master of all aspects of reality in every sense of the word that you can mean that. In the first Avengers movie, Thanos sends Loki to Earth to get the Tesseract, which is an Infinity Stone.
Yes.
And now Thanos finally has come himself to collect. Like, you know, the bills are due and the
his
taxmen
henchmen are not cutting it.
Yeah, right. Well, and he still has some henchmen, which
Okay,
I don't know.
Loki's not cutting it anymore.
Right, pretty much, yeah. And okay, so
nobody can trust Loki anyways.
Thanos has these henchmen called the Black Order, who he sends off to get some Infinity Stones. And he goes off to collect some himself. The Avengers obviously get involved. There is a battle in New York again. Short-lived, but another battle of New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of just evolve and grow from there. We go to space. We go to other
planets, different realms.
Right. We do some reality bending stuff, some time stuff. It gets crazy. And I'm not even going to bury the lead. I'm going to tell you outright, I loved everything about this damn movie. There are some tiny nitpicks I have here and there, but for the most part, it washed over me like a warm blanket, and I was
had
just
tears.
happy. I literally cried crocodile tears in the movie theater. No shame. I cried like a bitch at the end of this movie. But go ahead. How did you feel about it?
Loved the movie. Absolutely loved it. From the beginning, it was great. Like, you kind of caught on to what was going on, and you're like, all right, it's going to get real good. It's getting real good. It's getting real good. And then that damn spot where they all started, like, I had this look of confusion on my face.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not because I haven't followed, because I knew what was going on up until that point.
Oh, yeah, and even me.
And
I've read the Infinity
frickin'
Gauntlet, and I was still lost. Like, I was like, wait a minute, what just happened?
Ripped the rug right out from underneath of me, and I'm like, what the hell just happened here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I was not expecting that ending.
No.
Now,
Well, what here? I don't want to jump straight to the end yet, because there's a lot of stuff.
I know there's
before
a
that
lot
that
in
we
the
gotta
middle,
talk
but
about. So okay, let's rewind all the way
that's
back
my
to the
issue.
beginning.
Like, I love the entire movie,
Sure.
except for not
Okay.
crazy about it. The ending,
And you're not the only one. And I'm really curious to hear you explain what about the ending that you didn't like, because I've somehow was able to stay on the internet and avoid spoilers, and that's kind of part of the
I
reason
did
too
too
that I
this
wanted to
week.
do shout outs to people like, thank you for not being assholes for people who've seen the movie already and not
Right.
spoiled it, and fuck you to the people who were trying to spoil it for other people. There were people on Instagram that were leaving comments under like celebrities' photos that had nothing to do with the movie,
No.
just to try and hopefully spoil it for some random person who's avoiding it. Like, say you was just going through George Clooney's Instagram, and then in a comment somebody was like, Spider-Man dies, and it's like, the fuck? Like, what is this bullshit? So, yeah, so we got to get there. So, at the beginning, one of the things that I really liked and really made me go, okay, we're going to get real serious with this, is how they handled Loki's death.
yes,
And Heimdall's death, which
yes,
I made the joke, sidebar, at the beginning.
You did.
Before anybody else died, the first motherfucker they killed had to be... There's only one black dude on Asgard, and it's Heimdall. And y'all had to kill the only black dude that y'all had in this entire fucking, godly world or whatever. It's all these Nordic, white people, and
I
then
think
Heimdall.
if he wouldn't have sent the Hulk to Earth, though, then he probably wouldn't have killed him.
Thanos blew up the ship. He was going to kill them all anyway.
Well,
Yeah, they were all going to die.
He made a special point to kill him after
personally.
He sent
Sure.
the Hulk.
Well, I mean, because look at what he did to Peter Dinklage's people after they made the gauntlet for him.
Yeah,
he killed all
them
them.
anyway.
Yeah, so it was like he was gonna kill him, no matter what. Like, there was no getting around that. Especially too, these are Asgardians, and you've seen how much of a threat Thor is to him.
Sure.
So he can't leave these motherfuckers just floating around in space. He's like, no, we got to kill them now. But from the outset, the way that they killed Loki and Heimdall, I was like, okay, yeah, dude, we getting real with this shit, because Loki has been like a Marvel favorite for years now.
Yeah,
you know,
well,
people
since
have
the
loved him since the
Thor.
first Thor. Yeah,
Yep.
even before he was in Avengers. And I think Avengers is what cemented him as everybody's like favorite villain, if not just favorite all around character in MCU. And I mean, I can kind of give or take Loki at times, but I do like him.
I mean, he's not the worst character in the world.
No, and I like Tom Hiddleston, the actor that plays Loki. I just like the way the chemistry he has with Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
Like, I believe them as brothers. you know?
Sure.
Like, I can buy that relationship.
And you can totally see that Loki's the younger brother.
Yep, the younger fuck up brother. Yes, he's the Prince Harry, right?
I guess.
Is Harry the redheaded one? I don't know.
No, yes.
Okay, yeah.
No. Yes, Harry's the redhead.
Sure, yeah. He's the wild, crazy younger one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the Loki and shit. But yes, you know, the way that they killed him, and I liked that he kind of had a redeeming moment at the end, because Loki's kind of been so back and forth, you know,
Sure.
with is he good, is he bad, like what's his deal? He's been doing that for so long and so many times that it was nice to have that one last moment where he's like, you know, I am, you know, Prince of Asgard and, you know, the rightful ruler over Jotunheim and,
The
you
son
know,
of
Odin's
Odin.
son. Yeah, you know, so I was like, and he looked at Thor when he said that. And
I think
the
that's
little
when
knife
he
appears
knew.
in his hand. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, Thor knew, like, he's gonna pretty much commit suicide right now.
Right. All for the cause.
And I really thought that was a good moment for him to have, because he wasn't in the movie as much as I thought he would be. I had a feeling Thanos
Well, they
would kill
kind
him
of
from the
weaned
outset.
him out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he dies at the very beginning of the movie, but I mean, I thought that he'd have a bigger part. I thought he would, and it kind of seemed like they were going that way, because he started doing his little Loki thing where he's like, oh, well, you know, you'll need a guide when you go to Earth, and I can help
Sure.
you out, doing his little Weasley little bullshit. But then they killed him, and I was like,
Yeah,
"Fuck."
Thanos was like, "Nah, I'm good."
He's like, no, you done fucked up once, bitch. Like, I gave you a whole army, and I gave you an Infinity Stone to go down there to get me another Infinity Stone, which you can tell that when they first wrote the first Avengers, they didn't know where this was all going to go
Right.
leading up to this, because in Age of Ultron, which you've recently seen finally, you see that the Mind Stone was in Loki's scepter from the first Avengers.
Yes.
So Thanos sent him to get an Infinity Stone and gave him another Infinity Stone to get that stone, and it's like, and you lost both of them. So it was like, well, that was dumb from the get go. Like, that'd be like saying, hey, go steal this car, and I'm gonna give you this other stolen car to go steal this car with. And it's like, no, just go get this one. Like, don't give him another one.
You would go there.
Yeah, right. But so that was kind of silly. But I did like that they made it a point right out the gate that this shit is serious. And I like that they established Thanos' strength and how much of a threat he was from the beginning.
Right.
'Cause he whooped Thor ass. He whooped the Hulk's. He whooped Hulk ass so quick.
Iron Man in the suit, or the Hulk in the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, but even before that happened, and he didn't even do that. Remember, that was the Black Order dude that whooped Banner's ass and ripped his arm off and all that shit in the Iron Man suit. I don't even think Thanos actually even, or maybe he like slapped him away or some shit. But anyway.
Yeah, anyway.
But from the outset, they made it a point to go like, this shit is serious. Like,
Right.
We've built Thanos up to make him seem like he's this big, great thing, and we've never really shown you why you should be afraid of him until now. And I appreciated that they established from the beginning, this shit is serious, and we ain't bullshitting. Like they came out and pointed at the camera and was like, hey, y'all bitched before because we wouldn't kill nobody. Now everybody finna fucking die. Like, you get what you wanted now, motherfuckers, ain't you? But, okay.
Which I've never been one of those people that I'm like,
sure.
Oh, you know, nobody's dying. They're superheroes. They ain't supposed to die.
And that's my thing, because people, I feel like, give Marvel undue shit because they're so big and it seems like they can never fail, that people just have to find something wrong with it. Because nobody ever watches a Batman movie like, well, Batman should have died at the end of that. Why didn't Superman die at the end of this? It's like, well, he's not going to. It's his movie. What the fuck? I was like, you don't go into John Wick and be like, I thought he should have died at the end. Like, no,
That's
you know that he's the main character and he's more than most likely going to live. It's usually a shock when they do die.
Right.
But anyway, going beyond that, I liked how they found a way to, because I do want to bring up how it compares and how it doesn't to the comic books.
Mm-hmm.
In the Infinity War comic, The Silver Surfer is the one who crashes into Doctor Strange's Sanctum Sanctorum and tells them about Thanos. And
Okay.
stuff. He has been replaced by the Hulk in this version because they don't have the rights to Silver Surfer
because he's
of the
with
whole Fox bullshit.
Fox.
Yeah.
Yep.
So they found a way to get him in it. And I was curious how they was going to make that work because I was like, well, the Hulk can't just float through space and just crash land on Earth. Like, he would die. He can't survive that long.
Mm-hmm.
So I was curious of how he got from Thor's ship at the end of Ragnarok to Doctor Strange's in Infinity War. But they show how Heimdall uses the last of the Bifrost power to get him there. And I also like how they kind of threw that in there towards the end when Peter Dinklage is telling him about the hammer. He's like, oh, and you might be able to access the Bifrost with this too, because that's how he gets to Earth.
Right.
Thor and Rocket and them, that's how they pop up because he uses the Bifrost. And I was like, yeah, well, if you could do that before, why couldn't you do that with the other hammer? But whatever. Anyway.
Well, because there's more.
Yeah, right. It's 12 hammers, duh. You needed 11 more hammers, and then you could have just did it. You need Heimdall. But
I kept waiting for that, to be made out of vibranium or
oh,
something.
yeah, some shit. See, I bet, yeah, if they'd made it out of vibranium, he'd have killed Thanos. And we gonna talk about that because that is my biggest nitpick out of this whole thing is what happens between Thor and Thanos towards the end. But from there, the Silver Surfer has to explain to Adam Warlock. Okay, yeah, Adam Warlock brings the Silver Surfer there to them, and then he explains to Doctor Strange who Thanos is, the Infinity, stones, the gauntlet, everything else. He's that exposition person for that. But they kind of lump the Hulk into all that. The Hulk explains everything to everybody. He's the one that meets Thanos. Like, he is our window into what the bigger story is going to be for the characters on Earth who don't know who Thanos is.
Right.
I appreciated what they did there. I don't, though, like the fact that Tony has the arc reactor back. Because remember at the end of Iron Man 3, he has that surgery to where he doesn't need it in his chest anymore. But now in this, he has it back because now he has the nano machine Iron Man suit.
Right. To
where the nanos, I guess, live inside that, kind of like they did in Black Panther's necklace.
Yep.
And it comes out of that. Which, I mean, sure, whatever, but
that arc reactor, it almost didn't look like it was attached to him because he had that vest on.
Yeah, it was like, it was coming,
so
it was like over top
to
of
the
it.
Vest.
Yeah.
And him and Piper fight about that.
Yeah.
She makes
Pepper.
Pepper.
Sure. Call her Piper again.
I know, I'm gonna have all kind of death tweets or whatever.
DJ Melly Mel, what the fuck she talking about? She called her Piper. Did you hear this bitch? Go ahead.
Pepper, they're fighting about. He's like, oh yeah, what should I have in my closet then? And she's like, shirts, Tony. You should have shirts in your closet.
Right. Not all these Iron Man suits that I've built. No, are you sure?
No.
Yeah.
You should have normal clothes.
And then I loved the interactions between Stephen Strange and Tony Stark because they're both rich assholes, you know what I'm saying? And it was just so funny to just see them banter back and forth because usually Tony is like the quick-witted, really sarcastic.
Yeah, he's not used to having somebody equally on his level.
Right, to cut into him and be like, bitch, you ain't shit. When he was talking about like, oh, I swore off dairy, but then, Ben and Jerry's made a flavor after me or whatever, and he's like, Stark raving mad or something like that. He's like, pretty good, right? He's like, kind of chalky.
It's a bit chalky.
So it was like, I like that he had somebody to banter back and
better.
forth with. Yeah. Just everything about Doctor Strange I really enjoyed and just how Tony was so dismissive of the magical elements and stuff. And he was like, well, what the hell do you do? And he's like, I protect your reality or whatever. And he's like, whatever, fuck. And, he was just kind of like brushing him and Wong off. Cause like when there's a part where the Black Order show up and Doctor Strange is trying to do a spell to fight them, and him and Wong are both there doing it together, and Tony flies through the middle of their spell and shoots the car away that they're throwing at him, and they're just kind of like, well, dude, what the fuck? Like, what are you doing? Like, we got this over here.
Or when he's when Spider-Man shows up, and he's dismissive, he's like, yeah, magic guy, and...
Yeah, the wizard. He's like, wizard. When he's talking to Bruce, he's like, you're embarrassing me in front of the wizards. It was hilarious. I was like, oh, man. And... I like this little character arc that we have with Bruce.
Yes.
Because this is my theory. Now, I could be wrong. They could explain it to be something else. But my theory is the reason that he can't become the Hulk, and I think it's going to be a big deal when he finally does in the fourth one.
Mm-hmm.
But I believe that the reason that Bruce can't turn into the Hulk is because he is afraid.
Mm-hmm.
This is the first time that the Hulk has ever faced anybody who was vastly more powerful than him. Now, he's fought people who are stronger than him, like in his first movie, in The Incredible Hulk, he fights the Abomination. The Abomination was stronger than him, a little bit bigger and stuff like that too. But it wasn't a just giant gap in power.
Right.
Like it is with Thanos with the power
right,
stone.
right.
Especially now that he has all the stones.
He just basically tosses Hulk aside like he's a little flea.
Oh, yes. Yes. Yeah. He whooped Thor ass. Or, sorry, Hulk ass. Thor too, but he really whooped Hulk ass. We didn't even see him whoop Thor's ass. Thor was just laying in a heap as soon as the movie started and shit, and then Hulk jumped out and got his ass whooped real quick. But I think that the Hulk won't come out, or he won't fully transform because the Hulk is afraid. Because every time he'd try to bring him to the surface, the Hulk would be like, no! And then go back, and he's like, what the fuck, man? Like, what do you mean, no? He's like, what are you doing? It's time to kick ass. Like, what is this shit? And then, as well, I did like that because he couldn't turn into the Hulk, Bruce had to depend on his own wits and things to get out of situations and fight
we
back.
haven't really seen that.
Yeah, no, usually his go-to is just turn into the Hulk.
Yep, he's got to go green, and then...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he doesn't have to get out of it on his own, or somebody else comes and helps him or something like that. But it's nice to actually give layers to the Hulk and give him more personality, because I really enjoyed Thor Ragnarok because the Hulk was a character.
Right, as more opposed to just
he
Hulk
wasn't
smash.
a plot device. Right, where it's just like, hey, we need somebody to come in here and save everybody. Throw Hulk in there, he'll just tear some shit up.
Right.
They actually made him a character, and I enjoyed that. And I like how they keep developing that now, even though he can't turn into the Hulk. I feel like there's going to be a story reason, an emotional story reason for why he won't. Not because he's hurt or he's lost the ability to, but because he's afraid. And I'm like, that is a powerful thing to be like, wow, like this thing that everybody is terrified of. I mean, Asgardian gods are afraid of the Hulk. I mean, granted,
maybe
Loki's
it has
a bitch,
something to do with Nat. Like it's
no,
an emotional
because
thing?
he couldn't transform in New York before they went to Wakanda. Remember? That's when he was like, you're embarrassing in front of the wizards. And that was after Thanos whooped his ass.
Yeah.
So I think from that first time we see Hulk on, he's like, fuck this shit. Like, I'm not. He's like, Hulk don't want to smash. Like, Hulk scared to the motherfucker. He said, shit. He's like, talk about some, you're more like, fucking baby fire or whatever. I'm smoldering fire. Like, no, hell no. You are the bitch right now. And that's cool. I like that. I like that the Hulk is terrified because fucking Thanos whooped his ass.
Yeah.
But pushing forward beyond that, everything with Captain America, I loved. Everything with Captain America. I was so happy when he showed up on the screen. I was like, yes, get this man a shield. Like, I was like, yes, I love Cap. Like, I love the little line that Thor even says to him when they finally interact in Wakanda.
Oh, yeah, he copied
like,
my beard.
Yeah, he's like, did you get a haircut? He was like, yes. He's like, I see you're copying my beard. I was like, nice.
Yep.
Like, that was cool.
When Cap showed up, I swear to God, I was hoping with all of my might that it was Wolverine.
Oh, no.
I was just like, please.
Well, I guess we can throw all that Wolverine's going to be Infinity War shit out the window.
Maybe he's in the second one.
He could be in the next one, maybe, but
I don't know.
After this, I'm like, yeah, probably not. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I liked how he's matured. He's still a good guy. He still wants to do the right thing. He still has his morals and shit. But he's not naive anymore.
No.
Like, he's grown and changed. Like, when he says
he's
that
got
line,
adapted to this world, basically.
Oh, yeah, because in his second movie, in the Winter Soldier, that was the one where it was him realizing, like, this is not the world that I fought for. Like,
Not
this,
1950 anymore.
yeah, this isn't what, you know, we're putting our own citizens under surveillance and there's all this shady shit going on. He's like, this is not what I fought and died for, you know, or tried to die for. And after Civil War and the fallout from that, where the government completely turned on him, where he was just like, oh, yeah, no, fuck all this shit. Like, I'm ripping this star off. Y'all can take this shield. Like, I'm done with all this Cap. Don't even call me Captain America. You, Steve, bitch. Like,
Steve Rogers.
Look, you program me in the phone, Steve. You bet Cap my ass. No, shit, Captain of what? Shit, fuck him. No. He said, fuck it, Avengers.
Yep.
But I loved everything with him. I love the interaction that he had with the General Ross, I think is his name, where he says, you know, your number one, you know, defender is gone, you know, talking about Tony when he went off into space. He's like, so we're here to fight. And he's like, you know, I'm, what is the line he says? He says, I'm far past asking for permission or something like that.
Far past asking for permission. And
he's like, I'm here to fight. And he was like, and if you want to stand in my way, I'll fight you too. I was like, oh shit, Cap. I was like, tell these bitch ass motherfuckers. Cause you know, Captain America from the first and second movie, Cap wouldn't have said no shit like that. He'd have been like, oh, well, you know.
Watch your language.
Right. Language. Yeah. Ultron Cap wouldn't have said no shit like that. This Cap, he about pretty much was like, bitch, move.
He's like, fuck you. I'm done.
Like, I will whoop your bitch ass right here, right now. Get
even
the fuck
if you are a hologram.
Look, shit. Right. I will punch through these pixels, bitch. Yeah, but Cap, I mean, in the comics, during that time when he gets stripped of the title of Captain America, he starts to call himself Nomad, and that's when he grows out the longer hair and the beard, and he wears like a kind of all black costume. But I like what they did with it here when they kept him in the Captain America suit, but it's all dirty and dark.
Yep.
And you can't really see the red, white, and blue as much anymore. He's ripped the star off and everything else. So
no flashy shield, no.
Yeah, DJ Melly Mel was disappointed. But they show it in the trailers. With the two little shields that he has when he's running.
Yeah, but I thought they would
come together. I think they do come together into one thing. I don't think they could have cut it out, you know, in the movie, the final edit. When
T'Challa said, get that man a shield. Yeah. And I was like, yes, we're going to have a new and improved vibranium shield. Because we found out that his shield was made of vibranium.
Oh, anyways. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like I'm sitting there and I'm like, yes, we're gonna. And then he's got these two little arm shields, and I'm like, what the?
I thought they were dope.
I mean, they were cool
when they were fighting the infantry, and he's like punching them with the sharp ends and shit.
I mean, they were cool.
When he fights Thanos, when he does that slide, he hits him in the leg, and he keeps hitting him like in his pressure points and like knocking him down.
I mean, it just wasn't what I was hoping for when he said it, but I mean,
no, don't get me wrong.
It would
have been dope if we could have seen that red, white, and blue frisbee flying around, knocking motherfuckers out, like bouncing off of trees and shit. That would have been dope. Don't get me wrong.
Knocking out them Venom monsters.
Yeah, I will say they did kind of look like some symbiotes.
They looked like Venom.
They did.
That was the first thing I said. I was
they did. But to be fair, though, hey, Venom and Spider-Man and all that shit are technically Marvel characters, so if anything, they got the right to make them look like that. They're like, we made all this shit.
That was my thought. I was like, well, that's pretty cool. And if that's how they're trying to tie Venom into all this.
And think about if they didn't fuck this up. Think about, okay, in the comics, when it's not in Infinity War, but it's another thing where the, not the Collector, but his brother, the character that Jeff Goldblum plays in Thor Ragnarok. The guy, the
goofy ass motherfucker.
Whatever, yeah. He has these like big Olympic type fighting gladiatorial games, and he sometimes will just steal people from other planets and make them fight. Well, in the comics, that's what happens. Like the Avengers and a bunch of other superheroes get taken, they have to fight these other people for his amusement. During that battle, that's when Peter finds the symbiote. It comes over him, he fights with it, and that's how he defeats some of these aliens and really strong motherfuckers that he normally wouldn't be able to beat. And when he comes back to Earth, he keeps the suit, and then it becomes, you know, crazy and makes him evil, and then he takes it off, and that's where Venom comes from.
Right.
So that's how Venom is incorporated in that. They could have easily been like a symbiote. It into
Ragnarok or something.
Like a symbiote was one of these things that they were fighting, and that Peter could have been fighting one of them. It could have got the goop on him. He could have got the black suit, And then boom, they're going into Homecoming. Now you got your Venom set up right there.
Yep.
That's all they had to do. But instead, no, we got to make, fucking Tom Hardy and do this other side bullshit. And it's like,
he's got to be an anti-hero.
right. And it's like, you've already taken Spider-Man into space. This would have been the perfect opportunity to do it. And you just fucked the whole thing up. Like when they said that they were going to put Thor or Hulk and Thor Ragnarok, I was like, ooh, this is how they're going to tell the Planet Hulk story, because they were never going to make another Hulk solo movie.
Right.
But everybody loves the Planet Hulk story where he's a gladiator and he's fighting and shit like that. And he's smart and he can talk and all that. And they were just like, okay, well, we'll just incorporate it into Thor's movie and then we can have our cake and eat it too. They could have did the same thing with this. You could have had all your Venom set up, and then going forward, we to know, you wouldn't have to explain nothing about the symbiote or nothing. Because, I mean, everybody and their mama is going to go see this fucking movie. So you would have all your setup done. And then you can just go into the next movie, black suit from the beginning, and we already know what happened. But nope, fucked it up. Anyway.
Sidebar over.
Yeah. The Venom monsters that they fight in Wakanda were fucking. They were pretty cool design though. I did like them. Like they had like 4 arms, I think, and they like way they ran and shit.
Yeah.
I thought what I thought was really cool about them were how they were suicidal. Like they were so
jumping
vicious.
through that shield.
The force field at Wakanda. Like they were so vicious to the point that they would kill themselves just to get to you. And I was like, that made that shit cool to me. I was like, okay, like, even though they're like the little infantry fodder for the Avengers to just fight and kill or whatever, it was still made them intimidating that they were that, like, I don't want to keep saying vicious, but just feral, I guess. They were like rabid dogs, like they would shoot their own leg off to come chase after you. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was a cool concept to me. Because nothing is scarier than someone who wants to kill you who's willing to kill themselves in the process. That's why kamikaze pilots, suicide bombers, they are the worst enemy, because you can't scare them. You can't scare them with death.
The fear of death doesn't.
Right. You can't be like, stop or I'll shoot. It's like, motherfucker, I'm planning to die at the end of this shit anyway, so you go ahead. As long as I can kill you in the process, I'm good. But that's what made them cool. So we've talked about Cap. We've talked about Thanos and Hulk and Thor. We haven't talked about Tony. Well, a little bit with the
nanos. A little bit about Tony.
But I like how he is still the Tony that we've known from Iron Man 1. But you can tell he's gotten older. He's gotten a little bit more mature. He's talking about starting a family with Pepper and, things like that. Which I'm like, man, you like 50 some odd years old and you talking about having your first kid? I was like, I don't know. I think that shit might have sailed, Tony. Like, unless you go have some like super aging something for the kid. I'm like, you will be dead before they're 20 probably. So it was like, well, whatever. Or if not dead, you're going to be the oldest fucking dad at the graduation. Like, you're going to be coming up there with a cane. That's my boy up there. Like, sit down, Tony. Sit down.
Walking up in an Iron Man suit.
Right. Trying to grab ass on the fucking teachers and shit. Like, that's Grandpa Tony. Yeah. It's like, no, that's actually my father. Oh, Jesus. It's like, fuck, how old was he had you? Oh, like 56. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
But he seems like he's a more of a parental figure in this thing. Especially ever since Spider-Man came into the fold. I like the relationship dynamics that they put between them two.
Yeah.
About how he sends the Iron Spider suit to him when he's falling to catch him. And then he's like, all right, now get the fuck out of here. And then Peter still stays on the ship and helps him, which it's a good thing he did, because they would not have beaten that Black Order dude, Ebony Maw, I think is his name. The one that had Doctor Strange. If Peter hadn't came up there, Tony would have been fucked. But
he's like, we need some backup up here.
Yeah, but I like, how Tony kind of became a dad, and he says to him, like, no, like, he's like, well, he's like, you're in a spaceship and you're in space. He's like, yeah, with you. He's like, exactly where I did not want you to be. Like, he was always trying to look out after everybody else.
That line kind of hit me in the feels. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. And then he says the same thing to Doctor Strange, where he's like, oh, when they're fighting in New York against the Black Order, and he's like, we got to get that stone out of here. He was like, the stone doesn't go anywhere without me. He's like, well, exactly. You leave. Get the fuck out of here.
Get out. Yep.
And he was very self-sacrificing in this. And I like that about him, because Tony's always kind of been the selfish, type. But I liked that he has grown as a character. And he's still a dick. And he's still sarcastic and all that shit. But he seems
got
a
a
lot
little more
more
of a
responsible.
conscience, yeah.
Yes, he has a much bigger conscience than he has in the past. He actually is. It may not always seem like it, but he really is thinking about everyone else and looking at the bigger picture.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes to the detriment, because that's kind of how we got Ultron. But still, hey, we're gonna leave that in the past.
Well, if he wouldn't have been working on Ultron, then we wouldn't have got Vision.
True.
So I mean,
hey, hey, so what? Some Soviet Union type country got destroyed in the process. Whatever, we saved most of those people, I'm sure, right? A few died maybe, but it's fine.
few for the cause.
Right. What about what did you feel about the Guardians in this?
I was never a fan of the Guardians pre. Don't give me that look.
If you can see the face I just made at her, yeah.
Like, I don't know. They seemed out of place compared to the rest of them.
Sure, yeah, and I always figured they would be the most hardest to gel with everybody
But they
else.
were hilarious.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Thor kept calling Rocky Rabbit.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
And then Star-Lord. There was not anything that man didn't do other than punch Thanos in the face that wasn't hilarious.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that whole him getting jealous of Thor and Gamora, that whole bit was hilarious. Just the whole, when they first find Thor, that first 5 minutes of them just talking about him was hilarious. When they say the line of, he looks like a pirate and an angel had a baby. That shit cracked me the fuck up. And she was saying, talking about his muscles. She was like, his muscles look like they're made from the finest something fibers or whatever. He's like, okay, get off his
petting
dick.
his muscles.
Yeah. He's like, God damn. He's like, wake this motherfucker up and get off his nuts. But yeah, I liked Star-Lord's jealousy and stuff like that.
I really liked the way that they all interacted with the Avengers.
Yeah.
I liked it. It was nice.
Mm-hmm. I love the fact that they didn't know who the Avengers were. Rocket's like, who? What the fuck is that? It was kind of like that line in the first Guardians of the Galaxy where he's like, I'm Star-Lord. And he's like, who? It made me think of that. I was like, yeah, they don't know who the Avengers are at all. I mean, Peter's from Earth, but none of the rest of them have ever been there. So, and even after he goes, and they meet the Avengers, Rocket's not impressed at all. He's like, oh, pfft. He's like, these motherfuckers. He's like, y'all ain't shit. He's like, I got a talking tree over here. I ain't this shit don't impress me. He's like, shit, you go get a talking chimney or some shit and have him get on the team. Then I'll be impressed. Oh, if the Thing popped up, maybe he would then. I didn't care.
Really portrayed that adolescent.
Yeah,
kid.
it was a little bit too real for me because I was like, I just don't like you. You are a fucking little asshole.
But I did like when he, they're like, hey, Tree, we need you to help find the handle for Thor's axe, and he sacrifices his arm to forge this axe that he knows is going to save the world, or it's portrayed to help save the world.
Well, it basically does, but it doesn't. But we'll get
it does, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah,
we know that, but we don't know that yet.
Yeah, I got a few question marks for the end. So
no.
Going past that, I loved everything about Wakanda. I was so happy to go back to Wakanda.
Wish we had a little more Wakanda.
As soon as I heard them little drums,
I was like, Wakanda!
I'm doing a little shoulder dance in the theater. Oh shit! I was like, I'm ready.
Amber was looking at you like you was crazy.
I know. My girlfriend unfortunately hasn't seen Black Panther yet, so all the Black Panther shit she was just lost on. But I was over there loving it, and especially when they get the troops together and they got M'Baku to help them out and shit. I was like, oh, I wanted him to fight Thanos.
I got chills.
I wanted him to fight Thanos so he could just start barking at him when Thanos would be talking. He's, he's like, you do not speak.
I absolutely loved the Wakanda, and when they were standing there and they're chanting.
Yeah, we don't know what they're saying, but it just sounds like a bomb back, like that whole thing was just like, oh man. You know what, that little moment right before they charged the force field. That felt like Braveheart to me.
Yes.
And that is one of my favorite movies. I can't stand Mel Gibson now, but I love Braveheart still, and that reminded me of that movie so much. The scene where they're getting ready to fight the English. Yeah, was there with the Scots.
Where he gives the speech.
Yeah, and he's like, and he's telling them, you know, wait until they get closer. And he's like, hold. Yeah, like that. It reminded me of that, yeah. Like the whole time. Ball back. I was like, oh man, like it's getting real now.
It hits like the same category for me as Independence Day, where the president gives his speech. He's like, I will not go quietly into the night. Yep, that's like my favorite presidential speech.
That's my favorite speech of anything ever.
Movie presidential speech. That's one of my favorites.
Real, fake, fictional presidents, all that shit. Look, Trump would never get out and say a speech like that.
Obama got close with a couple of his.
Yeah, for sure. Them change speeches.
I don't think I've ever heard Trump speak.
Nah, man, he'd tweet you that shit before he'd say.
Let's not go there.
Yeah, I was gonna say anyway.
Not go there.
I don't
this is
even
not
want
a
to
political.
stir up no fire.
No.
We don't want to stoke that fire at all.
No, not at all.
But
the power of Wakanda.
Yes. Beyond that, everything with Wakanda, I was happy with. I love seeing Okoye again. I love seeing Shuri again.
Oh my god, the Starbucks line.
T'Challa. Yes,
the
Olympics and Starbucks line is hilarious.
Rolling. She's just like, this is not what I pictured when you said we were gonna open up to the world.
Like, what did you think?
What did you think? I was hoping for a Starbucks.
Nope, sorry, bitch. Aliens. Aliens and big green motherfuckers and some dude with wings and machine guns and shit.
Yep.
I loved seeing Bucky back, which I felt like Bucky kind of got the short end of the stick. You know, they didn't. I love the little line how they just kind of explain away Hawkeye and Scott.
Yes.
How they're just like, yeah, you know, they're kind of just off whatever, you know,
Scott's on house arrest.
Right, so yeah, they not.
Which is setting it up for Ant-Man and the Wasp, by the way, because he's on house arrest
And he will also be in Avengers 4, because in those set photos, Scott is in those. So that's why I'm thinking, like, whoever's still left alive that wasn't in this, or who was in this that did survive, they're gonna go have to group them together and be like, okay, we gotta come up with a plan to get this motherfucker and stop this bullshit. We finna avenge this shit, because he violated, he killed everybody, and we gotta go get this motherfucker. And we almost there, guys, because we gotta get to that shit.
Because I'm excited about.
I'm itching to talk about the ending.
Yes.
So, just a few more things I want to touch on. As far as I liked the things that they did that were similar to the comics. Now, as far as him getting the stones, the way that's done in the comics is completely different from what they do in the movies.
Sure.
Which I won't go into, detail about that, but it is a totally different set of events that happen. But the way he uses the stones is very similar to what he does in the comics. Like, there's a part where he has the ground turn into like a hand and like grab and hold down. I think it's like Nebula, Gamora, somebody. He does that in the comics. The scene where he turns Drax into blocks and turns Mantis to like rubber. He does that in the comics. Yeah. The separating Nebula into all these pieces and stuff. He does that. The bubbles, all that shit like that. All that reality bending shit was so cool to me. And just the inventive ways that they came up with how he uses stones. For example, when he throws the planet, he literally throws a planet at the Avengers, and it's the dopest thing ever. Because what he does, and how they visually showed how they did it was so cool too. Because when he would access each stone, whatever power he was using, that particular stone would light up. Yeah. So when he crushed that planet, 2 stones lit up. First, it was the Power Stone, because that's how he crushed the planet. Right. Then the blue Space Stone lit up, because he teleported that planet to where they were. That's why the comets came so quick, and it wasn't like a long time for him to come down. Right. Because he broke it and then sucked it through the portal and just had it show up behind him. And I was like, that was dope. Like, the inventive ways they came up with how he was using it. I was like, that is really cool. And the whole thing when the Guardians first come up and Gamora thinks that she's killed him and all that shit, and then you find out it was all an illusion with the Reality Stone. Like, the Collector was already dead before they even got there. Like, he was just waiting for him.
Thanos had to... I'm pretty sure that Thanos knew in order to get the Soul Stone that was a possibility as a sacrifice. Maybe not necessarily where it was.
Sure.
But the fact that he made her take him, like she had to be the one to take him.
Well, to be fair, he initially sent her to find the stone. She did, but she lied and said she never found out where it was, but he knew that she knew where it was, so
That's
he had
what
to
I
take her.
mean.
The reason I would argue against that is a good theory, but the reason I would argue against it is because he didn't have to trade or sacrifice anything for the other stones. That was the only one that required...
No, but he knew that she was lying about it.
Yeah, but I don't think when he got
it
there,
might
he
have
knew
been...
he'd have to kill her to get it. I don't think that was ever... Because if that was the case, why did he react the way he did when he figured it out?
True.
I don't think I figure he just thought he could go there, he might have to kill somebody to take it from him maybe, but I don't think he thought, I'm going to have to kill Gamora and sacrifice her to get the stone, because he didn't have to do that for any of the other ones. He just
That's
took them.
true. And he was being protective of her when they got to...
Exactly. I mean, he
come
cried.
up with the red guy.
Yeah, he cried
Red
when...
Skull.
Yeah, which, by the way... So, my girlfriend, she does watch these movies, but she's not, like, super into the lore and all that. So, she just passively watches them. She enjoys them to a degree, but then she moves on.
Right.
Obviously, we're balls deep in this shit. So, you know, we're like, this is my life. and so... this
Might as well be mine, too.
Pretty much. So, the scene where... I forget the name of the planet they go to. Wherever it is, to go get the Soul Stone. When you see the fucking Dementor-looking motherfucker floating here from Harry Potter.
And I said that. It's like I was like,
she
really?
said that in the theater, yep.
I'm like, really? We got some Dementors coming on?
Death Eaters and shit. It's like, what the fuck is this? He's like, you're a wizard, Harry. Like, the fuck? Oh, sorry, wrong movie. But when you find out that that's the Red Skull, my girlfriend, she leans over and goes, is that Darth Vader? And I'm like, get out. You get out this movie theater right now.
It took everything I had not to just glare at her and be like,
like, you
really?
Get the fuck out. You go sit in the car and wait till it's over.
Do you know how long it's been since I've seen the original Captain America?
Yeah.
It's been a minute.
Probably close to 6-7 years. At least. Yeah, because Iron Man 1 came out 10 years ago.
Because I don't think I've seen the original Cap since it came out.
I've watched it a few times since then, but yeah.
But anyway, I remembered him. Like, as soon as he moved the hood, and I was like, oh, that's
Red Skull.
That's Red Skull, man.
Like, it was cool that they got him back, too, you know, because I had said before off mic that Hugo Weaving said that he didn't like playing that character. He didn't want to do it anymore. And that's part of the reason why you haven't seen the Red Skull anymore up until this. So, I liked how they reincorporated him back into this, but... the fact that because at the end of the first Captain America movie, the Red Skull picks up the Tesseract with his bare hands and he gets teleported somewhere into space. We don't know where, and you never see him again after.
Well, he gets taken to
the planet that he's on.
Yeah.
But why? And then he's like, "Oh, it's my job to watch over the stone or guard this place or whatever." And I was like, "Why? You just got randomly teleported somewhere like." It wasn't like the Tesseract was supposed to take you to guard the other stone.
No, he said that while they're on that planet, that he picked up the stone and he wasn't worthy. So the stone decided his fate because the stone said he wasn't worthy. So
the Tesseract? Is that what he's talking about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he's talking to Thanos.
The Tesseract sent him...
Right. He's talking to Thanos and he's telling him about how he tried to collect this stone.
Yeah.
But... he wasn't worthy of having the stone, or he wasn't powerful enough to have the stone, or something along those lines.
Right, and that's what I figured why he got sent away.
It banished him to that planet.
Okay.
And kind of like that was his penance for trying to steal the stone or take the stone.
His punishment.
His punishment was now that he had to guard the
other stone.
The Soul Stone.
Yeah, okay. Which, I mean...
you was probably laughing at the
I was
Darth
still probably
Vader,
on that Darth Vader shit and didn't catch that.
And you probably didn't catch it.
Yeah, so I like the fact that they reincorporated him back into this and brought him back. It would have been nice if they could have somehow found a way to bring the Defenders into this, because I was like, well, if there's ever going to be a point where they bring all the Marvel shit together, TV shows and everything, it'll be Infinity War. It didn't happen, so I'm like, yeah, we're never gonna see Daredevil and Spider-Man meet. So just let that dream go. Even though I would love to see fucking what's the actor's name that plays Kingpin now? in the Daredevil show?
I don't remember.
He's in Full Metal Jacket. He's the crazy dude that kills the drill sergeant. I want to say Willem Dafoe, but that's not his name. Vincent D'Onofrio.
Yes.
That's something of it.
Yes,
he
yes.
plays the Kingpin now, and I would
really?
love to see him. Yeah. Oh, he's good. He is good. You need to see that first season.
I would say I like Vincent D'Onofrio in some things, but
he's. If you just would have told me, and I never saw a picture of him as Wilson Fisk or seen him in the show, I'd be like, oh, really? But no,
it's kind of the same.
He is the best version of that character, bar none.
Really?
Like, hands down, for sure.
Okay.
But there's a bunch of stuff that happens with Vision and Wanda. I like their relationship. I liked how much more emotive Vision was in his human form, but I thought it was weird when he went back to his Vision form that he still was very emotive like that. But I mean, I guess he's evolving and learning.
I think that's what they were trying to get with
he's
him
becoming
evolving.
more human, I guess.
Yeah.
So I mean,
less dependent on the stone.
Yeah. So I mean, that's a little nitpicky, but whatever. But I didn't understand. I thought that okay. There's a point where the heroes who are on Earth are trying to make their last stand at Wakanda. And they bring Vision there to try and get the stone out of him so they can still have him be on the team.
Right.
But they don't have to destroy him to destroy the stone.
Right.
So they have Shuri try to, fix him while he's there. And the Black Order try to break in and stop her, and it looks as though she finishes working on him because she's doing the shit on the screen and she closes it and then she grabs the little gauntlet thing and she starts firing at the Black Order chick. And then when they come over to the table, Vision's gone and then they start fighting. So I figured she finished what she was supposed to have been doing, but then Wanda has to kill him to get the stone, to destroy the stone.
Right.
So I was like, I thought the whole point of them doing that was to get it out of his head, but it seemed like she was done, but maybe she finished but didn't actually pluck it from him. But I don't. But then after that, I was like, well, why don't he just take it out?
I think
because she was like, oh, it'll take as long as you can give me. But when she was working on it, she closed the screen, so I thought that meant she was done.
I don't think she finished it. I think she
just stopped
so that they wouldn't ruin her progress.
Or maybe so then he could be able to get up and fight.
That could be too.
He was kind of incapacitated.
That could be too, yeah.
So maybe, yeah.
That's probably more along the lines of.
Yeah. And then they just slapped the shit out of Shuri, poor little ass, and threw her over a table or some shit. And I was like, whoop, damn, there goes her.
Yeah, that was it.
And then,
one punch and she was done.
Yeah, and then, that was the end of that. But now we can get to the ending.
Oh my gosh. I'm excited.
So we've already alluded to the fact that DJ Mellinell has a couple issues with the ending. I thought it was glorious, and for all the people, again, who've ever complained that they don't kill nobody in these Marvel movies, there's no real stakes or whatever, somebody heard you and they said, what? They said, you think this shit is a game? And they went and they killed everybody in this shit. Now, we were trying to do a tally before we started recording of who actually... It'll be easier to say who lived than who actually died. So...
We still got Tony.
Tony, as far as we know, because we didn't see them, we're going to just assume that Scott and Clint are still alive.
Yep.
Hawkeye and Ant-Man, we're going to assume that they're still good.
Mm-hmm.
Bruce is still alive. Tony is still alive. Thor, and Cap.
Yes.
Did Wanda live too? I know Black Widow is still alive, but is Scarlet Witch still alive too?
I don't think so.
Okay, I think she did disappear. Okay.
Yeah, she did, because she was standing over Vision's body, and Vision's body just goes black.
Yeah, because Thanos crushes his skull and takes the stone out. So besides those 6 or 7 people that we just named, everybody else dies. Everybody dies.
I think Black Widow's still there.
Yeah. I said that. Yeah, Black Widow and Scarlet Witch are both still alive. Yeah. And Okoye is still alive.
Mm-hmm.
And M'Baku, I think, is still alive as well. Yeah, because he was watching his soldiers fade away and shit. So, in the comics, Thanos does the snap his fingers things and kills half the life in the universe at the beginning. And then the Avengers have to take who's ever left and go fight him. In this, they got to start with everybody, not everybody fighting together at once.
Right. They were
because they were kind of split
sectors.
off into little teams and shit. But the way it goes down and how everything comes together.
Once he plucks that stone from Vision's head.
Okay. I didn't think that they would go through with it. I just figured that, okay, he will never actually get to the point where he actually kills half the life in the universe. Like, he'll fuck a bunch of shit up. A bunch of people are going to die, but he's not going to actually do the thing. No, he doesn't. At the end of the movie, he snaps his fucking fingers and they just turn to dust. Like, you remember the scene where Star-Lord puts the grenade on Thanos' back and he flips him off and jumps through that portal that Doctor Strange makes? That's basically what Thanos does to Thor and the rest of the characters in the movie. Is he snaps his finger, Thor's like, what did you do? And he's like, bye, bitch, and just goes through a portal and he's gone. And then after that, you don't know what's going on for a minute, and then you just start seeing motherfuckers turn to leaves and shit and just like float away. And it's like, wait, what the fuck is happening?
It kind of reminded me of, do you remember the first Blade movie?
Yes.
When he stabbed the vampires.
Yeah, and they turned into
and then
ash.
they turned to the ash. That's what it reminded me of.
Pretty much.
Like, everybody just starts turning to ash.
Pretty much.
And then
I didn't expect to cry. I thought I might, but I was like, I'll be okay. Because I went into it expecting people to die. Who they killed and how they died, though, I wasn't ready for it. Because like I said, when they killed Loki, I didn't get emotional about it, but I kind of was sad, you know.
It's
Because
like,
I like
no
Loki.
more Loki.
Right, when they killed Heimdall, same thing. Like, I wasn't too overly distraught, but I was like, that's sad. When they kill T'Challa, and Okoye has just like a panic attack. Because if you have not seen Black Panther, I'm going to say this. If you can, watch Black Panther before you see Infinity War.
Yes.
One, because Black Panther is just a good movie all the way around on its own. But it is a good foundation to go off of, especially because we spend so much time in Wakanda.
Yes.
It's good to know who these people are beforehand and the status quo of the world and how that nation is ran and everything else. But you need to see Black Panther before this, because the emotional weight that scene has when Okoye realizes that T'Challa has been killed or turned into dust or whatever, she just panics, because there's a scene in Black Panther where she's talking to Lupita Nyong'o's character, T'Challa's like ex-girlfriend, and she's explaining to her, like, even though Killmonger, you know, took over and kind of had a revolt and uprising and overthrew T'Challa and kind of stole the throne away, and he's a bad leader and shit. She was like, my loyalty is to this throne.
Right.
Like, no matter who sits in that chair, I'm loyal to that chair. So if it's Hitler or whoever the fuck, this is me over here. Like, and I'm to the death about this shit. So when T'Challa just fades away into nothing, her whole world just collapses right there. And the look on her face was just of sheer confusion and panic. And just, it was powerful seeing that.
And another thing, like, they make it seem like she's the one that's gonna die.
Yeah.
Because she's laying on the ground, she's been beat up, she's been defeated.
Yeah, T'Challa like scurries over to her.
Yeah, he's like, come on, this isn't where we're gonna die. So you can infer she's got like some internal injuries or something.
And I like that, though, that they kind of subverted your expectation, because usually it's the man that comes to the woman's aid and she's hurt. And he's like, oh, come on, we're going to survive and make it through this. And then he dies. And it's like,
and
oh,
he just
shit.
disappears, and just sheer panic. Mm-hmm. You look at her face and she stands up and she kind of gathers herself and she's like, doesn't say anything, but her look says everything.
Yeah,
she's got this look like, what the fuck am I doing now?
Mm-hmm. It's that look that you see parents have in movies when a kid gets kidnapped from a park or something, and that realization washes over them and they just go into full-on panic mode. It's like, what the fuck? Like, what do I do? Like, that was powerful. It was like she was a child and her parents lost her in the mall. Mm-hmm. And she just realized that she was lost, and it finally came to her realization. that is the first like hiccup of a tear that I could feel.
No, I didn't tear up, but I was like,
oh, I could feel it coming right then. Because I was like, oh no. Because it was so... Because I almost cried in Black Panther when she gives that speech about how important the throne is to her.
One of my second favorite speeches.
Yeah, because I can relate to, you know, being loyal to something or someone to... even to a fault, you know? Yeah. So, like, that touched me, and I felt where she was coming from with that. So when this happens in Infinity War, I was like, damn, like, I understand where she's coming from. Mm-hmm. But the one that got me...
Peter.
Now, obviously, you guys all know, if you've listened to this more than 2 episodes, you know I love fucking Spider-Man. That is my shit. So I was already going to be emotionally, you know, distraught when they killed Spider-Man. Which, if anybody, I thought, if you asked me to make a bet on one character that I guarantee will not die, I would say Spider-Man. I'm like, they just got him back.
He's just the youngest.
They are not going to kill him. They are not going to kill Spider-Man. That is the most popular Marvel character. Fuck the movies, fuck the comic books, fuck the toys. Hands down, over any medium, Spider-Man. I'm like, they're not going to kill Spider-Man. Sony ain't going to let them kill Spider-Man. They go, hell no, motherfucker, no. We finna milk this shit. We let y'all borrow him so y'all can kill him? No, fuck you.
No.
Wouldn't that be some shit, though? Just a quick sidebar. Wouldn't that be some shit if, like, that was Marvel's whole plan? Was just, like, to just get the rights to use Spider-Man and kill him so Sony just can't make no more movies. They're like, you know what? If y'all won't do him right, we just gonna kill him off and won't nobody make a fucking Spider-Man movie no more.
You know,
fuck
they still would.
Y'all. Yeah, they would.
No,
they just make a... Unleash your anti-hero with Venom. They'll just make that instead. They're like, it's fine.
Right.
Eddie. Like, come on, man. You're like, I don't want to hurt nobody. I can't get over that shit. We're only going to hurt bad people, right? Shut the fuck. Anyway, when they killed Spider-Man, I lost it. I crocodile tears in the movie there. I'm kind of tearing up talking about it right now. Because
it really is.
Because and what makes it so great is because they finally got an actor who is age appropriate to play a convincing teenager. Mm-hmm. They ain't got 27-year-old Andrew Garfield or 32-year-old Tobey Maguire out here talking about, I'm in high school. Like, shut the fuck. Just because you put glasses and a tight ass shirt on him, don't make this motherfucking 5 o'clock shadow look any less prominent than it do, all right? Like, you grown as hell, motherfucker. I see your chest hair, all right? You ain't no little kid. But the fact they got an age-appropriate actor makes it so much better, because when he has those moments of fear and being in over his head because he is a kid, mm-hmm. and he is out of his element and he is in way over his head. Yes, he's a superhero. Yes, he has power.
But he's still a kid.
And he still has a kid's mindset.
Right.
You know, he thinks that, because I have powers, I can be helpful, but he's not thinking about the bigger picture of, if I get caught up in some shit, who's going to help me?
Right.
You know, it's like, who's going to be responsible for me? When he says to Tony, he's like, I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark. And then he's like,
I don't want to go.
Right. And he like hugs him. He's like, I don't want to die. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Like, I was like, oh my God, I cried so hard. And it reminded me too of the scene in Spider-Man Homecoming, mm-hmm. where the Vulture collapses the building on Peter and he can't get up at first. And he's like, fuck, like, I'm gonna die
he's
here.
Got that panic look.
And he starts crying.
I would say he kind of had the same panic look that...
That's why I'm like, that kid is good.
Yeah.
That actor is good.
Give him a Grammy, give him an Emmy, give him
all the
Oscar,
awards.
Give him something.
Yeah, don't give him a Grammy, but yeah, the other ones he can have.
Well, he can have a Grammy just because.
Hey, look, fuck it, give it to him. Just, you was that good, kid. Because I buy him crying. Every time that kid cries,
it's
I
legit.
buy that shit.
Oh my God, Tobey Maguire's cry used to be so ugly.
Can you imagine Tobey doing it? I don't want to die, Mrs. Stark.
No, I can't.
No,
he was an awful crier. But this kid...
Oh yeah, no, he's good. His cries are believable. And he makes me feel bad for him. Like, I'm legit
He's the kid that used to blame shit on other kids and cry to get away from it.
Yep.
He'd be like, but...
I don't want to whoop it.
Be like, just go to your room. It'll be all right.
Yeah, no. When he broke down and turned into that 16, 17-year-old kid that he really is, you know, underneath that costume, like, that got me, man.
Mm-hmm.
And when he faded to dust, I just... I cry like a bitch in the movie theater. I didn't give a fuck. I'm snotting and all kind of shit. But this is my big nitpick. Now we can finally talk about issues with the ending. I personally love the fact that everybody dies, Thanos wins, and it's over. And then, as another kick to the balls, at the stinger at the end where you're like, oh, okay, this is going to be, that one character that we didn't see in the whole movie or somebody that we thought was going to show up that didn't. They're going to come and save the day. We see Nick Fury, and it's like, yes, he's going to have a plan. He's going to know what to do about this shit. And then this car crashes in front of him, and this helicopter crashes into a building, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? And then you see the people disappearing, and that's when you realize, oh, this isn't after the end. This is the ending that we just saw. We're just seeing more of the people disappearing, and Nick Fury and Kobe Collette, which I can't remember her character's name, but they both, only two people who are left from S.H.I.E.L.D., they both disappear, but not right before he starts trying to call Captain Marvel.
Code Red.
Yeah, to come help him.
This 1980s beeper he's got going on.
Which makes sense because the Captain Marvel movie is set in the 90s.
Okay.
So when he meets her, and he's probably had that thing up until now. So that's, and they've had more set photos. He's going to be in that movie. So they'll show, because the Captain Marvel movie will come out, because the only other thing before the next Avengers movie is Ant-Man and the Wasp is coming out this year.
June.
Yep, and then nothing else until Captain Marvel comes out next year. Then we'll get back to the rest of Avengers. So we'll have 2 movies in between, and then we go back. So we'll get to learn who Captain Marvel is, what her powers is, get established with her. So when she pops up in Avengers 4, we'll already be caught up and be good with that.
Right.
But...
And of course, you had to have Samuel L. Jackson. He couldn't go one movie without saying the word motherfucker.
Right. You're like, right before he dies, he's like, mother. And he just fades away. And I was like, that was awesome. But my problem with... But that's why I was so happy with the ending, is I like the fact that the bad guy won for once. I mean, we know in the long run, in the very, very end, he's going to die. They're going to fix everything. It'll be fine. But for the time being, as of right now, the status quo is motherfuckers is dead, Thanos is on vacation, and we chill.
Avengers 0.
Right, pretty much, yeah, shit. His arm is all burnt the fuck up and shit, but hey, he looked like he was chilling. He looking out at the sunset, smiling and shit. He looks like he's fulfilled. Like he's done his Lord's work.
It kind of looked like it restored his planet.
Did it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of felt like that too. I mean, now he could have went somewhere that looked similar to it, but he has the reality stone. So remember what he said? He's like, I can make reality whatever I want it to be.
Yeah.
So he could restore that planet if he wanted to. But I don't know though, because I almost want to say like he broke the Infinity Gauntlet. Like I think the stones are fucked.
Yeah,
but
they look fried.
But that don't make sense either, because they looked fried after he snapped his fingers and destroyed half the life on the universe, but then he teleports with it right after. So it can't be destroyed because he's still using it. So, because how did he get to that planet?
I don't know.
I just think it fucked him up physically. Like it was too much power to do a task that big. Because everything he had done before that, yes, he was changing reality and doing all this kind of shit, but he was doing that on a smaller scale. Scale to do that across the entire universe. That would probably take a lot of power and put some strain on his body. So it probably fucked up the gauntlet, fucked him up, but the stones probably still work. But
I think the stones looked okay. It just the
gauntlet
was
just fucked up. But my issue with it is Thor gets a new axe/hammer thing that he's using. It's like 6 Mjolnirs in one. And the handle is made from Baby Groot's or Teen Groot's arm and all that. And it's supposed to be really super powerful. He can use the Bifrost with it. He's like up to 11 now. He's like 10 Thors. That's all well and good, but I don't give a fuck how strong Thor is. Thor, nor that new hammer axe thing he got, is not strong enough to push back the full-powered Infinity Gauntlet. So by this point in the movie, Thanos finally gets the Soul Stone the Mind Stone from Vision. And Thor comes down with all his lightning and shit and throws the axe at Thanos, and Thanos points the gauntlet up and shoots like all these multicolored rainbow beams full blast.
Captain Planet on your ass.
Right, pretty much. He's like hot, and then and he does that, but the hammer pushes through the beam. It was like some Dragon Ball Z like beam fighting shit. It pushes through the beam and hits him in the chest, And Thor comes down. He's like, I told you, you would die for that. And like pushes it into him more. And then Thanos is like, you should have aimed for the head. And that's when he snaps his finger and then does everything. And then he's like, fuck you, and goes into his portal and leaves.
Yep.
Thor's hammer, axe, whatever, should not have been able to do that. This is the full power. You saw what he was doing with just one Infinity Stone, and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. He had all 6.
Yeah, they kind of downplayed the power of the gauntlet.
Yeah, and I was worried that they'd do
else.
that. I was worried that they'd do that because in the comics, like legit, man, and I knew that the scope could not be anywhere near as big as they wanted it to be for this movie. And some of the concepts are just so crazy, it'd be really hard to get people to understand it. But he literally fights infinity itself in the comics, like Thanos. He fights concepts. He's beyond fighting gods and planets. He's fighting concepts at this point, like eternity and forever and shit. So, and that's kind of how they get the gauntlet from him too, because once he beats eternity, he becomes eternity. But at that point, he's like a ethereal being, and he doesn't need a physical body anymore. And he's like, oh, I'm beyond all physical, this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, so that means you don't need this gauntlet still on your dead body over here, so we can just go ahead and take this. And he's like, no. And then they switch back time and fuck it all up. And then, yeah, it's this whole thing. So that's like, the way in the comics they stop him is they basically trick him into getting it off.
Maybe that's what they're going for now.
Yeah, and it seems like they're not going to be able to do it by brute force, clearly. No. I don't know if Thor throws his unstoppable axe again, maybe. But that bothered me. But I feel like I'm rambling. You tell me, what was your problem with the ending? Because you've been saying that since we left the theater. So I'm curious to hear this.
Okay. Not having like the comic background that you have.
Okay.
It kind of threw me, and I'm just like, well, because until we saw that stinger at the very, very end, I was sitting there thinking, like, this is it. That's it. We're done. That's how they're going to end it, kind of thing.
Sure.
And so it had me feeling, man, we've been building this for 10 years, and that's how you're going to end it?
Sure.
So that was what my...
But okay, then I'm curious. I'm going to put you on the spot. What would you have wanted that would have made you feel more satisfied? Is it because Thanos wins?
No, it's because they all start disappearing.
Sure,
and
but...
there's a realization that you might have to continue the Avengers without certain Avengers.
So you're upset that people died then?
No, not necessarily.
Because I want to get to the essence. The
I wasn't sad when Loki died. And
sure, but he's a villain though. The heroes.
I wasn't sad when Bucky died. I mean, I was like, oh, Bucky died.
Did Bucky disappear too?
Yeah.
Oh, he did. Yeah, shit. All right.
So it wasn't because they were.
Wait. Was the arm still there?
I don't remember.
That's fucked up, but go ahead.
I don't think so.
Rocket's like, yes!
No, I don't think so.
He's like, I told you I was going to get you that fucking arm, didn't I?
But anyway, like, it was just the fact that some of them were there and some of them were not. So if you're going to have it where Thanos kills off the Avengers, kill them all off.
Oh, so you wanted complete destruction.
Right. This whole pick and choose, half the world's gone kind of thing. That's what I was like, really? If you're going to have Thanos win.
Sure.
And I was okay with that.
Sure. But again, he can't win absolutely because then that's the end of there's no more movies.
That was my point.
So you wanted this to be a final.
I didn't want it to be, but if that's
but
what
if they're
going to
do
like,
it, then
right.
Sure.
If that's what they were going for.
Sure. Okay.
Not knowing the extra Avengers movie coming.
Sure.
And, especially since when you roll the credits in a Marvel movie, you see them at the credits, and then you see the second one after the stinger second. You know what I'm talking about?
Sure, yeah.
We didn't see that. So I thought that was just the end of Marvel. And that's what got me. And so I was sitting there and I was like, you're going to half-ass do this? If you're going to do it, do it.
Sure.
So
kill everybody.
You gonna kill them all.
Wipe the slate clean. Well, see, that's some pretty savage shit, man. It's like, hey, I'm mad because I wanted everybody to die. If you go kill, they all gotta go.
But talking more about it and kind of looking at the comic angle and kind of letting my brain calm down after the initial what the fuck. Like, now I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, how can we, Doc Strange said that there was only one possibility for them to win.
He looked at 16 million, alternatives,
all these
and there was
alternatives.
only one where
There's only one where they win. So he's got something planned.
Yeah.
So the next Avengers movie is going to come back, and we're going to have Miss Marvel, we're going to have Doc Strange, we're going to have the ones that are left, and they're going to time travel or something, and they're going to fix this. So it's not going to be this half-assed kind of, here it is, here's the end kind of thing.
Sure. Do you remember when we were talking about some news that were coming out about the Russo brothers saying that they were going to cut some of Thanos' backstory? Remember how we speculated whether or not they would cut that Gamora flashback out? I'm glad they did not, because that was a very important scene to establish their relationship.
Yes.
And it made that moment where he kills her more powerful, because if they would have cut out that stuff with her as a kid and him, then you wouldn't have cared as much when he kills her. I mean, you would have cared because they're killing a character you like.
Right, but you wouldn't understand why it's...
Right, why it's so
powerful.
Right, to actually have him be the one to do it.
Right.
And the way he did it at that, too. And just how she never realized that even though he, to her, is fucked up and does all this horrible, crazy shit, in his mind and to him, he feels like he's doing something noble and merciful, and it's actually a good thing. And he actually did care about her.
Right.
Even though the way he brought her into his life was a horrible way to do it, in his mind, he was showing her mercy, because his explanation was, hey, man, look, if it wasn't for me, the whole planet would have went into famine and starved and died.
Right.
And y'all didn't have the resources to support the amount of people on this planet. He's like, if anything, I helped y'all out. Since I'd killed half of these motherfuckers there, the planet's doing great. You ain't been there in 20 years, bitch. They doing fine.
Right.
He's like, you mad at me, but look, everybody there is thriving and prospering and doing great. They got statues and monuments built to me and shit. And that little knife I gave you, like, they like, thank you, balance. Instead of like a statue with the blindfolded justice with the weight scales. It's that knife, on a finger. Like, there you go. But,
It kind of, like, when they were on the edge and she was giving her speech about, you're going to lose and you don't have anything that you can love, and her karma bug was biting him in the ass. You could see it on his face, and I was like,
oh yeah, he was realizing it the whole time she was talking.
I was like, aw, he's got to throw her off.
And
like, right then and there, I seen it.
And it didn't dawn on her, not all the way up until, even when he turned around and was crying, she still didn't know.
She didn't get it until
Red Skull said something. He's like, he
oh.
doesn't weep for himself. And then she's like, oh shit. She's like, nuh-uh. And that's what started fighting him and shit. He's like, nope, it's too late. You done fucked up.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It like I said, the feels, man. The feels. I was not ready. Like, I will say, I've seen some people complain about it, and I've avoided all kind of conversations about the movie. I have not watched any reviews, nothing. So anything that I'm talking about has not been tainted by anything I've seen or heard somebody else say.
Yeah, I surprisingly missed all of it either. Thank you for working,
Yeah, right.
Working kind of crazy hours this week.
Right. So it's, this is all stuff that is just coming off the top of the dome and our first reactions to it. I'm sure we'll probably have a conversation about this again down the road once we've had a chance to let everything kind of settle, and because people are going to start to speculate and start nitpicking stuff and pointing out things about it they like and don't like, and
things
there's
are going to
Easter
come
eggs
out
that come out and all kind of stuff. Which there's so many videos and podcasts I want to listen to that I've been avoiding because I didn't want anything spoiled.
Right.
But overall, man, to be waiting 10 years. For this, it was worth it. Like, there was a lot of stumbles and falls in the beginning. We talked about this off mic as well. about how, Edward Norton used to be the Hulk, and then they switched him out for Mark Ruffalo when he was having issues with the studio.
And
Terrence Howard got
when
switched for
Mark
Don Cheadle.
Ruffalo, when they first said that Mark Ruffalo was going to be the Hulk,
Sure.
I was like, really? Mark
Yeah,
Ruffalo?
I know, me too.
I'm like, first of all, Mark Ruffalo does cutesy rom-coms.
Little indie shit,
Yeah, Mark Ruffalo doesn't strike me as any kind of superhero. But I liked how they developed him as Bruce.
But that's why I think he was perfect for it, because Bruce is not at all like Tony or Peter or anybody else. He's very timid. He's very
Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, I even liked when they had that moment where he comes and him and Natasha see each other finally for the first time, which I was sad because in the trailer it looked like they had a scene between the two of them where he's like working on the Hulkbuster and she like kind of looks over at him. That's when like they first showed her blonde hair in the first trailer. Yeah. That scene's not in the movie.
No.
So I feel like there was more interaction between them, because other than that one moment where they show up and talk to Rhodey,
they don't talk to each other at all.
Yeah, they have no other interaction in the movie besides that. So I was like, that kind of bothered me, but I was like, whatever. This isn't the time or the place. We got about 9 other plates we spinning right now. We ain't got time to be fucking around with our little relationship. But I'm glad that they did acknowledge that, hey, their relationship is a thing and there is still some feelings back and forth.
Right,
there.
and she's still hurt that...
Right, that he left the way he did and everything. They haven't had a chance to reconcile any of that. And I did like how, how nervous and timid he is, like, around her. Like he was, like, kind of, like, rubbing his sleeves, and he's like, hey, Nat, and, and she's like, hey. And, yeah. But in closing, is there anything else that you want to bring up that we didn't get a chance to talk about?
If you have not seen Infinity War, go see Infinity War. If you are not up to date on any of the Marvel movies, grab some popcorn, grab somebody who's into comics, get all of these freaking movies and sit down and binge watch them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And, even if you don't watch them in order, just watch them.
Please.
Like, if you want to start with all the Captain Americas, fine. Sit and watch all the Captain Americas. Then watch all the Iron Mans. Then watch all the Avengers. Just watch them all. It will make more sense.
Yeah. It's may seem like a lot. It is 18 movies, but
like I said, really that many?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's 18 movies. Like I said, they usually come out with at least 2 to 3 a year.
Yeah.
So
I guess they just never pieced them all together. And now, is that including Guardians?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's everything. Yeah. Guardians, Cap, Iron Man, Thor, Hulk. Yeah. Not the Ang Lee Hulk, but the Incredible Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk.
The one with Ed Norton. Yeah.
Not the one with
Eric Bana, I think is the guy's name for the first Hulk. Eric Bana. Yeah, Eric Bana. Yeah. Yeah. But anyway. But other than that, that's it? No, nothing else? Okay.
Not on that.
No thoughts? Yeah, but no, like DJ Mellemel said, go fucking see Infinity War. It's great. It is well worth it. And to answer the question that I posed at the very beginning of this, yes, it is definitely worth it.
Absolutely.
110%. There's nitpicky things, yes. The fact that it has an 87% on Rotten Tomatoes, I call bullshit. I'm like, it don't got to be 100%, but that shit should be in the 90s at least. I don't know where this 87% coming from.
Rotten Tomatoes is always biased, I swear.
Yeah, I try not too much pay attention to it, but I know a lot of people do.
Mm-hmm.
And even studios do, because you'll start to see, I promise you, if the score goes up,
mm-hmm.
you will start to see Avengers Infinity War commercials and trailers that are like, rated fresh on Rotten Tomatoes and this, that, and the other. So it's like they all do that shit. Because they even did it on the Spider-Man Homecoming DVD. On the front of the box, it's like certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. And I was like, when did we start caring so much about this shit? I was like, but it will affect your box office. Trust me. If a movie asks DC and Justice League and Batman vs. Superman on shit, let your shit come out with a score less than 70% and watch how your box office just tanks after that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not a perfect movie by no means, but for the
It'll suffice for the
Yeah,
fans
for
that
the
are craving
task
it.
that
Sure.
they put before themselves of trying to adapt that story with all these characters and all these moving parts and to give everybody their due. Like, even though they didn't have every single character in it, everybody got a moment.
Yep.
Everybody had their time to shine. Even the Vision, of all people, had like two fight scenes. Like the one when they were in, was it France or some shit?
Ireland.
Was that where they were? Okay, Ireland. And then
Ireland.
when they were in Wakanda, like he had two full-on fight scenes. So I'm like, everybody got some shit to do and got to have their
The Scarlet Witch had her moment.
She had a couple motherfucking
Black
moments.
Widow had her moment.
When those big ass things came out the ground and she stopped them in the air and shit and threw them at the, like, Scarlet Witch was out there whooping ass. So much so to the point where Okoye was like, why has she been up there this whole time?
Yeah, that was hilarious.
which makes sense. But it's like, well, okay, the most important thing right now is protecting that stone, so we should probably have our strongest person with that. But yeah. I think we can go ahead and wrap it up. Oh, one last thing, and this is just speculative. I'm really curious what's next now.
Yes.
And I don't just mean what's next for Avengers 4.
No.
I mean, where do we go from here now?
Sure.
You know, after Thanos is dead and all this shit is all wrapped up and done and over with, where do we go from here after this? I mean, we obviously know Captain Marvel's going to be a big thing. We still got Doctor Strange and
I'd like to
Spider-Man
see a
and shit like
She-Hulk. That'd be kind of cool.
that would be cool, yeah.
You
That'd be
know?
cool. Like I said, I don't know how I feel about the X-Men coming to the MCU, but if we can get the Fantastic Four in there, I'll be cool with that. Like I can live with that. Like I would love to see Johnny Storm.
Not the.
If we could get Johnny Storm and Cap to meet each other, at
How
least
would that work, though?
before they die. What do you mean? Chris Evans doesn't have to play Johnny. They could have a new Johnny Storm. I'm just saying it would just be a funny little Easter egg for the fans who know that Chris Evans used to play Cap.
Right.
To have him interact with, Johnny Storm.
Yeah.
That would be fun. Or I would have loved if fucking Killmonger and Cap could have talked to each other because they were both fucking Johnny Storm in their respective Fantastic Four movies. So
yeah, they were.
that would have worked for me too. But yeah, no, I and Kevin Feige, we trust. God damn it, like you are the
DC.
fucking
You
man.
should be taking notes.
No, look, sell it to Marvel. Give DC to Marvel. I know I'm talking blasphemy to some hardcore comic book fans, but look at what they've done. I mean, look, you can have your nitpicks and gripes about the way the movies play out, about the comedy, about the
I like the
stereotypicalness
comedy.
or
I
whatever.
think it's hilarious.
Oh, I do too. But a lot of this shit is nitpicky bullshit, fanboy shit. But
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And some people do have like legitimate gripes, but as a whole, objectively, the Marvel Cinematic Universe is awesome. It is everything that you could have ever hoped for as a kid, and as a grown ass kid now.
Yep.
It is glorious, and at this point they can't do nothing wrong in my eyes. Like they've just kept cranking out hits for years now, and 10 years straight of hits. Like even when the Marvel Studios logo came up and the I and the O in Studios turned into a 10,
Yeah.
I was like, that's cool for like 10 years. And I was
Right.
like,
I
man.
caught on to that.
I was like, it's crazy to think that they've just been, man, a lot of these movie franchises can't get 2 movies out without fucking it up. And they've got 18 out and got more in the tank coming. And I'm like, God damn it, man. Give everything to Marvel. I've even heard inklings that people think that Kevin Feige may take over Star Wars. Give him that too. All this Han Solo shit and all that, give him all that. DC, everything. Give it all to Marvel. Everything. Give Disney to Marvel. Let Marvel make the next Jungle Book movie, Aladdin, all that shit. Give it to Marvel. It'll be dope. They have fucking, oh man, it'll be, but yeah. Go see Infinity War.
Yes.
Go see it.
Yes. Last couple weeks, we've kind of been doing this whole what's stupid on the internet.
Sure, yeah.
I like it. DJ Melly Mel's what's stupid on the internet this week.
It's a mouthful, but it'll work. Go ahead.
I'll get it. I'm
Go ahead.
going to keep it.
Or whittle it down.
Yeah. Well, what's stupid on the internet this week?
Mm-hmm.
This is an article from the New York Post. So we're talking some real journalism here.
Mm-hmm.
Doctors warn women against putting wasp nests in their vaginas. And
Oh god.
let me say this again. Doctors warn women against putting wasp nests in their vaginas. Just in case you didn't hear me. So the article says that women are being warned against trying a bizarre new trend, suggest ground up wasp nests to tighten and rejuvenate the vagina. Online realtors have been selling oak gals, which are nests that house wasp eggs before they have hatched. And they're selling them as a natural way of cleaning female genitals.
So wait a minute, does it clean your pussy or does it make it tighter? What is it, or does it do both?
Apparently it does both.
It's like them Wakandan vibranium beads. It do whatever you need it to do.
It says the product is reportedly crushed into a paste and applied topically with one listing on Etsy, which has now since been removed, claiming that it can improve a woman's sex life.
Ooh, look. Say bye-bye to Kegels, ladies.
Nope, it ain't happening. People are also being advised as helping to heal episiotomy cuts. Episiotomy is when you have a baby. And
C-section cuts?
No.
Oh, no.
When they cut the little piece of tissue between your booty hole and your vagina.
Oh, yeah, they cut that shit all the way open. Yeah.
They cut it all the way to the back.
Oh, man.
It says to help heal episiotomy cuts, rejuvenate the uterine wall, and clean out the vagina after childbirth. Though some warnings are saying it may burn when applied.
Well, yeah. After you've had a baby, stick a wasp nest in your pussy instead. Like, yes.
There's a gynecologist who is warning women not to be sucked into this new trend after branding it very dangerous, and the practice is using drying agents to tighten the vagina walls. She says, drying the vaginal mucosa increases the risk of abrasions during sex, which is not good, in big bold letters. And it destroys the protective mucus layer, also not good. Yeah. Here's a pro tip. If something burns when you apply it to the vagina, it's typically bad for your vagina.
Yeah.
Now, it goes to comment on how this is not good and it's going to cut the good bacteria that's down there. Oddly enough, this is the line that gets me out of all this.
Okay.
This is not the first time that this particular gynecologist has warned against using herbal remedies for your vagina. Okay. It goes on to talk about...
What else were they putting in their vaginas?
Some kind of womb detox, which claimed to help, like, endometriosis.
What was it? What was it from? Was it bees' nest instead this time?
No, they were using herbal womb detox pearls, which were being promoted to boost health.
The vibranium beads, I told you.
Basically, these women insert 3 balls into the vagina for 72 hours. And she goes on to say leaving things that are not supposed to be in there or anything in there for a prolonged period of time is not, not so healthy.
Man, they got these bitches putting them fucking, when you buy some new shoes and there's that bag of that salt shit. Yeah, to keep it fresh. Yeah, they putting that shit in their pussy. Ugh.
Yeah, so that's the new health trend, and grinding up these wasp nests and applying it as a powder to your vaginal area.
I'm serious, man. We need to get in on this racket, man. I'm telling you, we finna start crushing red ant hills and pour this shit into your asshole, and it'll make all your farts smell beautiful.
Booty meth.
Oh, God.
Did we talk about that on air?
I don't know if we ever talked about it on air, but I definitely know we talked about it when I was over here.
Okay, sidebar. We both recently heard of a story where people are injecting meth into their booty hole to absorb faster. Don't do that.
Please, God,
don't do meth.
Don't
put
anything in your ass that's not for like sexual pleasure. At least, please don't put none in your ass to get high. Please don't.
And don't put any wasp nest in your vagina.
Yes, please, God. If you're not coming from either of these things, Don't stick it in you. Just don't. No.
Then that statement is broad too, because there's some things
Hey,
that
man,
women
look, I know,
use.
look,
Whatever.
people fuck cucumbers and weird shit like that. Hey, look, it's better than a wasp nest in your pussy. Look,
Yeah.
I'd rather you put a jar of pickles in your pussy before you put a wasp nest in there. Because God, oh Lord, it's sad that we've gotten to a point where people are so desperate to be, you know, beauty products and rejuvenation, this, that, and the other. It's like that we've gotten so desperate to where we doing this shit. Now, obviously,
I
it's
want to know
ground up
who
and all
come
that,
up with
but
this shit.
there's-
Who says, "Oh, hey, that's a wasp nest. Let's do that and let's put that in there to tighten up some muscles."
Well, there's motherfuckers in like Asian countries that like grind up rhinoceros penises because they think it helps with fertility and stamina and erections and shit. So it's like yes, the wild boar has a high sex drive, so we'll eat his balls and shit, and then we'll have a high sex drive. People have been coming up with dumb shit and making correlations to things that don't have anything to do with each other for centuries.
I don't speak for everyone on the planet here.
You don't?
But
Are you sure?
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say, ain't no wasp nest going anywhere near my vaginal downstairs area. It ain't happening. Nope. I'm not one that jumps on bandwagons. I'm not one that, oh, well, I gotta have this beauty trend and that beauty trend. And no, I am okay with being just a plain Jane girl, and it's okay if I don't look like whatever model or whatever, editor at Cosmo or whatever, Not that this is endorsed by Cosmo by any means, but you get the point.
No, hell no. They would never.
I don't care. I will take being just plain Jane any day.
Sure.
Ain't no ground up wasp nest going anywhere near me.
Oh, God, no. Please.
No.
Never, ever. Never.
So that's the stupid thing of the week.
I swear, I gotta get like a goofy little like something for like the end of this. Hey, give me time. I'll find something.
We'll get there. Anything else?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Tapped out.
Tap it out. All right.
I'll wake up in a cold sweat tonight thinking about Infinity War still. It was like, they killed Spider-Man!
I'm going to be getting a call at 2 o'clock in the morning. DJ Mellyville!
I need you to just talk me through this. I'm so sad. I just need somebody to talk to. Somebody that understands.
Right.
But anyway, again, just want to remind you guys, shout out again to the awesome podcasters that have been showing us some love these last few weeks. Thank you again, guys. We really appreciate it. And to our listeners, thank you guys for being so supportive and listening. Make sure that you keep showing us love, giving us these shout outs, ratings, retweets, all that jazz. It helps to keep us motivated to making the stuff that you guys like to hear.
Yeah.
Because we know that we're getting good feedback, so we know that you guys are liking it. And that's always, a good feeling. That's it for the show, guys. Remember, you can find us at our home, OneGiantLeapForGeeks.libsyn.com, or on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play Music, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, YouTube, or anywhere else you get your podcast. Make sure to show us some love, so go ahead, like, subscribe, rate, follow, review, and all that shit.
And if you have any questions, comments, concerns, or if you just want to say hi, you can always email us at officialoglfg@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter at Giant Leap, 4 Geeks. We're on Facebook, Reddit, Pinterest, Tumblr, Instagram. All you have to do is search for One Giant Leap for Geeks. All right, you guys have a good night. Bye.